Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. Universities are now trying to cover up their prejudice. This is a follow-up video on the video from the congressional hearing with 8 top university presidents. And this is one of them here, President McGill, who's the president of University of Pennsylvania, one of the top colleges in the country. All she's trying to do is just cover her ass. She's probably getting so much grief, and it's probably costing them hundreds of millions, if not more, from alumni that are now rich, that have gone through their college when they were young. They're pulling their funding and gifts and grants to University of Pennsylvania. She sat there and smirked and was so cocky and so arrogant. And all of a sudden now she put out a statement to cover her ass. So first, let's look at her testimony, just hers, or part of it, and then we're going to see her response, and I'm going to comment on her response that she put out the next day. And you can tell she's looking at it, she's reading it. This is worth seeing, folks. This is definitely worth seeing.
Ms. McGill, at Penn, does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Penn's rules or code of conduct? Yes or no?
Now look at her smile, smirk like this is a joke. It's not a joke. They're teaching some of the most educated and smartest people in this country, our youth especially, and they're filling them with this hatred and nonsense. And this passes on to the rest of the country. Just like cancer left unchecked will go everywhere in your body, this left unchecked will destroy the country.
If the speech turns into conduct, it can be harassment, yes.
If the speech turns into conduct, which means the only way we can act and goes against our rules, if you do something physically, conduct. She's saying verbally, no problem. But until you physically act, when she says conduct, she means physical. Let's just cut through the crap. She's a very educated woman. Until you do something physically to a student who's Jewish, it doesn't violate our rules.
I am asking, specifically calling for the genocide of Jews, does that constitute bullying or harassment?
If it is directed and severe or pervasive, it is harassment.
So the answer is yes.
It is a context-dependent decision.
A context-dependent decision again. Of course, these are all advised by lawyers. Context-dependent. Under what context is the genocide of Jewish people okay? That's the question that should have been asked. Now look at the lady on the left there, right over her right shoulder, the president's right shoulder. She's looking at her like, what the F are you talking about? What are you doing? Maybe that's even one of her lawyers going, what are you doing? But they can't help themselves. Why? Because this is what they really, truly believe in their hearts.
Congresswoman.
It's a context-dependent decision. That's your testimony today. Calling for the genocide of Jews is depending upon the context. That is not bullying or harassment. This is the easiest question to answer yes, Ms. McGill. So is your testimony that you will not answer yes?
If it
Look at her smiling like this is a joke. Some academic exercise or a debate in her school. This is nonsense. These people are evil, plain and simple. How do they get in charge of these things? I'll tell you the truth. I blame conservative-minded people, everyday Americans. Knowing this has been happening for decades plus, basically since the 60s, but really, really has been really bad the last 30 or 40 years. In my lifetime, I'm 67. This has been going on, and now we're in the second or third generation of this cancer, and it's spread everywhere. She thinks it's funny.
Yes or no?
If the speech becomes conduct, it can be harassment.
It can be harassment. It can be. In other words, conduct is physical. Let's just cut through the crap. What do we have to do? Rewrite a new dictionary? Unbelievable. And she thinks it's funny.
Yes.
Conduct meaning committing the act of genocide? the speech is not harassment, this is unacceptable, Ms. McGill. I'm going to give you one more opportunity for the world to see your answer. Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Penn's code of conduct when it comes to bullying and harassment? Yes or no?
It can be harassment.
It can be harassment. Now, here's the thing. I'm pretty much a free speech advocate. Free speech is about hearing things that you find disgusting and despicable. And unfortunately, that's part of the equation. But what I'm going to point out here is the hypocrisy of this whole thing. If this was said about, say, trans people or women or any other ethnic or religious minority, if this was said about Islamic people, now they would probably go along with the Christians, they wouldn't care. But they're picking and choosing of what they seem to be supposed free speech, and non-free speech is telling. It's telling. They stifle speech they don't like and call it harassment and call it hate speech. And there's even hate speech laws, but I think are ridiculous. But that's a different issue. Whatever they consider the side that they're on that's being criticized, it's hate speech. Whatever side they're against, in this case, Jews, it's open for interpretation. Isn't that interesting?
The answer is yes.
Now, here is the response the next day from the president of the University of Pennsylvania, McGill. She's not smirking anymore. She doesn't think this is funny. She's probably getting crap from every single direction, and rightfully so. Their prejudice against Jewish students is so clear and so blatant. And then she talks about the Constitution. I'm going to comment along the way because this is so ridiculous, it's mind-boggling. Let's listen. I put the BS meter up in the right-hand corner because the BS is off the charts. Let's listen.
There was a moment during yesterday's congressional hearing on anti-Semitism when I was asked if a call for the genocide of Jewish people on our campus would violate our policies. In that moment, I was focused on our university's longstanding policies aligned with the U.S. Constitution.
Our longstanding policies on a major university campus with the Constitution of the United States. She is so full of crap, I can't even tell you. They don't give a good damn about the Constitution of the United States. They've been browbeating conservative students and conservative professors for decades. They don't believe in free speech. It's amazing to me. In fact, I saw a poll once, or I should say a study, that listed from 0 to 100, 0 being no free speech at all, and 100 being open free speech on Harvard campus. And guess what Harvard got? They got 0. I don't know what UPenn got, but I'll bet you it's well below 10%. This is a lie to cover their ass. She's reading this because it was written by the lawyers to cover her up, because alumni is calling and they're pulling funding. It's costing them hundreds of millions, if not more dollars, and they're asking for a resignation from a $1 million plus job and bennies that health insurance that would make the average person blush. These people are incredible. You can't forget this. 6-8 months from now, it'll be back to normal. Let's not let that happen. Let's listen more of her BS.
Which say that speech alone is not punishable. I was not focused on, but I should have been, the irrefutable fact that a call for genocide of Jewish people is a call for some of the most terrible violence human beings can perpetrate.
You didn't give a good damn when you were smirking, when you were on national TV, just smiling for the camera and arrogant. Oh, it depends on the context. There was some kind of academic debate. I'm not big on hate speech laws, to tell you the truth, but these are the rules that you and other university presidents have installed. They had a professor, I think it was at UPenn, might have been somewhere else, but it doesn't matter, that said, unfortunately, I think it was Harvard, unfortunately, very small percent of African American students are in the top half of the graduating class. Now, that's not a terrible prejudice statement. It's just a statement of fact. It's just numbers. She was thrown out and lost her job. Meanwhile, you live in your ideological bubble of progressive nonsense of the oppressor or oppressed class, and all of a sudden now it's coming back to bite you in the ass. You're trying to save your own job. I hope you lose it. You deserve it.
It's evil, plain and simple. I want to be clear. A call for genocide of Jewish people is threatening, deeply so. It is
No, it's amazing, though. You call a major college campus, including hers, if you call somebody fat, it's fat phobia, and you can be thrown out. It's amazing, but you can say that genocide of Jewish people, it depends on the context. You mispronounce somebody, you can get thrown out of college. You could lose your professorship. It's amazing to me how these hypocrites, they make rules for everybody else except for themselves. Calling somebody by the wrong pronoun if you're a professor can get you thrown out and lose your job. Yet she can say that the genocide of Jews, it depends on the context. And now she's trying to cover her ass. Well, we'll see what the rest of the college professors do, but I'm sure it'll be just like it. And they're hoping in 6 months this is all going to go away.
Intentionally meant to terrify a people who have been subjected to pogroms and hatred for centuries and were the victims of mass genocide in the Holocaust. In my view, it would be harassment or intimidation. For decades, under multiple Penn presidents and consistent with most universities, Penn's policies have been guided by the Constitution and the law.
That's absolute total bull. Been guided by the U.S. Constitution and the law. That's a lie. Pure and simple. It's not even stretching the truth. They could care less about the U.S. Constitution. They live by their own laws.
In today's world, where we are seeing signs of hate proliferating across our campus and our world in a way not seen in years, these policies need to be clarified and evaluated. Penn must initiate a serious and careful look at our policies, and Provost Jackson and I will immediately convene a process to do so.
Oh, isn't that good of you? Isn't that wonderful? God, my heart is so full with your caring for the Jewish students. Your prejudice and your racism is now shown through for everybody to see. And you're going to lose your cushy job at $1 million+ a year probably, which the part that people don't even talk about is these morons like this are running up student debt and making it untenable for them in their lifetime to pay it back. Meanwhile, they can fill their coffers, in this case, her pockets. It's so disgusting. Talk about Stockholm Syndrome. The college students should be revolting against the people that are putting them in debt and feeding them this ideology that's evil and wrong.
As president, I'm committed to a safe, secure, and supportive environment so all members of our community can thrive. We can and we will get this right.
Now, here's the thing. What's going to happen now when the pro-Hamas, pro-Palestine students start protesting and calling for infamata, the genocide of the Jewish state and Jews in general? What are they going to do? Throw them all out? I doubt it. The progressive Democrats, the progressive left, is now eating their own. Their racism and their prejudice is shown through with flying colors. Conservative people have known that the true racists are the progressive left, without question. And now it's out for everyone to see. You're just trying to cover your own ass so you can put more hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in your pocket and get a retirement package that would make anybody blush. You're getting grief from every direction, and you should. You should resign. Resign. You believe in the Constitution? What a joke. What a joke. These people disgust me. This is the evil cancer that has now infected our universities for decades. Is finally going to the point where, just like any other cancer, it's going to kill the host. Will there be any change? We'll have to see. But frankly, I doubt it. Until the next time, goodbye and good luck.